We're glad to have your company tonight, coming your way straight from Kigali, Rwanda. My name is Enora Gladys Abatoni. Now straight to the news in details. Both chambers in Parliament have started the third ordinary session of the 2025-2026 parliamentary year. Among its key priorities during this session are passing legislation overseeing government activities, conducting outreach visits to citizens, and receiving reports on government activities from the Prime Minister. In particular, the Senate will continue to monitor compliance with fundamental principles in all its activities during this session. Parliament is also expected to pass the law determining the state budget for the fiscal year 2026-2027. Now, moving on with more news ahead, the Ministry of Environment has reiterated that Rwanda has chosen a path that combines environmental protection with development, and that every citizen has a responsibility to ensure that their activities contribute to safeguarding the environment. The remarks were made during celebrations marking World Environment Day, which were also held in conjunction with the 20th anniversary of the establishment of the Rwanda Environment Management Authority. The celebrations took place at the Gikondo wetland, on one of 5 wetlands currently undergoing restoration in the city of Kigali. Before restoration began, the wetland had been occupied by factories, residential settlements, and other human activities that disrupted biodiversity and degraded the environment, with effects that extended across the country. Currently, restoration work at the Gikondo wetland and 3 other wetlands in Kigali city has reached 94% completion, with significant improvements already visible.
Toward the wetland. So because, as you know, this was an industrial park formerly. So once you know where there is an industrial zone, there is buildings. So all debris were left here. So what we did, we just removed the debris. And then another thing we did, we fenced the wetland to avoid intruders to continue coming in. What we did, we have retained some water. Initially, there was a lot of runoff, so water was moving so fast, so the water could not be soaked in the wetland. So that one was affecting biodiversity of the environment. So actually, that is what we did, and we are very proud of that. I'm very happy to see water. As you can see, it has brought a beautification even in the Kigali. So another thing, the biodiversity is now functioning properly. As you can see, there is birds and other small species that has been now are generating. Even another plants, as you can see, it is now flourishing at the moment.
During the World Environment Day celebrations, initiatives such as the ban on plastic bags and single-use plastics, tree planting, carbon capture, and other environmental programs were highlighted as some of Rwanda's major achievements. These efforts have helped place Rwanda among the countries making a significant contribution to global environmental conservation, thanks to the involvement of citizens and various institutions. The Director General of Rwanda Environment Management Authority, Juliet Kabera, observed that the decision to establish the institution was made during the challenging times.
The mandate was to protect wetlands, make sure that wetlands are protected, clearly defined like that in Rema's mandate, but no one knew what wetlands were. We didn't know where they were actually. I think in Kinyarwanda there are so many names that really approximate close to what a wetland is. For Kinyarwanda speakers, we had Ibishanga, we had Ibibaya, we had Imibande. Dr. Rose knows more words than I do, but you really had to come up with a clear strategy. You have to map them. You need to report on a task because you have understood it. So we are sitting with people who exactly were involved in that exercise of mapping these wetlands for the first time. The other tool that that was thought about that time to start with as a foundation tool was the environmental impact assessment. This was important, really important, because it speaks to all project developers. And this was a very good channel for us to try and raise awareness even before a project is implemented. It's a lengthy process, but it's a planning tool. And you should have been in boardrooms where people are discussing why this is going to discourage development and all that. But here we are, 20 years down the road, and the development is only starting, I want to imagine. One of those laws that came up then is the law against polythene bags of 2008. But I believe before 2008, there were other guidelines that were being used to discourage the use of polythene bag because of its impacts to the environment. So that was there, that early. And again, this was a clear message that we are not here for the small tasks. We are here for even the tough ones. I'm glad that the efforts injected in that time in developing these regulations have yielded results.
Arakwiye stressed that Rwanda's achievements in environmental protection have created an even greater responsibility to build on the gains.
So the first priority is sustainable landscape management. The second one is climate smart agriculture, because once land is sustainably managed, once the land is restored, we have to properly and sustainably manage it. And the third priority is around sustainable cities. We are growing, and as Rwanda urbanizes, economic growth must be accompanied by cleaner air, sustainable transport, responsible waste management, and environmentally sound industrial development. So the same way we know what we are prioritizing, the same way we also know what to avoid. And this is where the work of REMA, whose 20th birthday we celebrate today, comes in very handy. Environmental compliance is necessary, and REMA has been leading us well on this front. DG Juliet really elaborated on the journey REMA has made so far in her presentation. Environmental regulations play a critical role. Regulations are sometimes perceived as obstacles to investment and development, but in reality, they help create the conditions for sustainable growth. So by setting clear standards and encouraging responsible practices, they drive innovation and help ensure that today's development does not create tomorrow's cost.
During the event, government institutions, companies, development partners, and individuals who made outstanding contributions to environmental conservation during the year, as well as throughout the 20 years since REMA's establishment, were recognized and awarded. Now moving on with more news ahead, surgical experts from public and private hospitals met on this Friday to discuss the National Surgical Obstetric and Anesthesia Plan 2026 to 2030, which will require an investment of $78.5 million to address the severe shortage of surgeons and operating theaters across the country. We do have the details. At this meeting, which brought together surgical specialists from both public and private hospitals, one of the key issues discussed was the shortage of surgeons, operating rooms, and surgical equipment. The president of Rwanda Society of Surgeons, Dr. Faustin Ntirenganya, who works at the University Teaching Hospital of Kigali, highlighted the seriousness of the problem.
When
you look at major hospitals such as CHUK and others, the numbers speak for themselves. At CHUK alone, we have around 3,000 patients waiting for surgery, while in Musanze there are about 1,000 waiting on the list. The backlog keeps growing. If you request an appointment with me today at CHUK, you might be given a consultation date 8 to 12 months from now. If you then need surgery, you would have to wait even longer. Sometimes a single operation can take us 2 days. The only solution is to increase the number of surgeons so that while I'm operating on one patient, my colleague can be operating on another.
Currently, a patient requiring surgery must wait anywhere from 8 months to 2 years before receiving a surgical appointment. During the meeting, doctors working in both public and private health facilities were encouraged to invest in surgical services by increasing the number of surgeons, expanding operating facilities, and acquiring the necessary equipment to help address this challenge. The representative of private medical practitioners, Dr. Dominique Savio Mugenzi, emphasized the importance of this collaboration.
Ejo Heza Surgical Center, ibitaro Ejo Heza bivuye muri outreach.
Recently, the Ejo Heza Surgical Center conducted an outreach program at Ruhengeri Hospital to treat patients. We asked the hospital to provide us with a list of patients waiting for surgery, and they told us there were 800. During the 3 days we spent there, we managed to treat 134 patients. And we had to make the most of the operating rooms that were available and work together closely, often operating until late at night. However, it is clear that there are too few operating rooms. Efforts to increase their number must continue so that we can treat more patients. Through collaboration with private and public health facilities, we can reduce this backlog.
The permanent secretary in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Jean-Marie Vianney Ndayizigiye, highlighted that the planned investment of $78.5 million over the 5-year period ending in 2030 will help close this gap.
Perioperative care is not reserved for rich people. It is a fundamental pillar of universal coverage. The Rwanda Perioperative Care Strategic Plan charts the path forward, but its success requires collaboration, avoiding duplication, and working together as public, private, and development partners.
Rwanda currently has 226 surgeons, far below the 1,400 surgeons required to meet national needs. The country also has approximately 340 operating theatres, which is significantly below demand. There is currently less than one operating theatre per 100,000 people, whereas international standards recommend at least 5 operating theatres per 100,000 population. The management of BK Group and its subsidiaries, including Bank of Kigali, has expressed satisfaction with its performance in the first quarter of the 2026, reporting a 6.9% increase in profit compared with the same period in 2025. Despite disruptions to the global economy caused by the conflict in the Middle East, Bank of Kigali says it remained profitable while also avoiding increases in interest rates for borrowers, as explained by its Chief Executive Officer, Diane Karusisi.
These are individual clients that were facing issues that we knew. The sector that is most affected is the manufacturing sector. So manufacturing is a new sector in Rwanda. So most companies that have built plants to produce fast-moving goods, etc., some of them are struggling. And we've been working with them, and we hope that we can find a solution. But I think it's too early to say that it's affecting the economy at large. It's only a few plants that we're seeing. But in the next couple of months, we will be able to see if there's a contagion into the whole economy. But for now, we believe it's a micro phenomenon, not a macro phenomenon.
Explaining the 6.9% profit growth recorded in the first quarter of the 2026 compared with 2025, Dr. Diane Karusisi noted that the bank had to adjust its strategy and operations by bringing services closer to small clients as well as Rwandans living abroad.
We started with a very concentrated loan portfolio, mainly lending to large companies, but over the years, we've been expanding our business to lend also to SMEs, individual clients, agriculture. And now the loan book stands at 55% for large companies, corporate, 21% for retail clients. These are individuals and families. Our SME loan book is at 17.7%, and agriculture, which is the newest product suite in the bank, stands at 5.5%. So we will continue, and we want to see corporate banking below the 50% mark. So we are sure that we are providing access to finance to segments that have been underserved so far. I also want to mention that we've kept expanding our digital infrastructure, and we are very happy to see many of our clients using the digital products that we offer. As we speak, we have over 63% of our clients using digital channels, which is something that is very positive. And for those who have seen, the traffic in our branches has been reducing, and we can serve much better the clients who come to our branches.
The Chief Executive Officer of the BK Group, Oziela Ndagijimana, stated that the trust placed in the institution by its clients remains its greatest source of strength. He encouraged customers to continue placing their confidence in the group and to invest in its shares as the company continues to grow and distinguish itself in the market.
With regard to key consolidated results of Q1, the group achieved a net profit of 26.9 billion Rwanda francs from 25.2 billion achieved in Q1 2025, which represents an increase of 6.9%. Total assets increased by 13.1% from 2.6 trillion to 2.9 trillion, and shareholders' equity increased by 12.7% from 463 billion to 522 billion. In terms of profitability metrics, return on average equity was about 20.9%, and return on average asset was 3.7%. Going forward, the group will maintain a disciplined execution of its strategy, focusing on customer centricity, product diversification, focus on retail, SME, and agribusiness segments, expansion of existing digital products, and the launch of new ones based on the new digital platform in place, as well as on maximizing intra-group synergies.
Bank of Kigali has continued supporting citizens and promoting economic development through its lending activities. The bank's total loan portfolio has now surpassed 1.7 trillion Rwandan francs. Of that amount, 55.5% was extended to large enterprises, 21.1% to individual borrowers, 17.7% to small and medium-sized enterprises or SMEs, and 5.5% to agricultural sector, which has emerged as a new area of focus. The total assets of the companies that make up BK Group are now valued at nearly 3 trillion Rwandan francs. Now, moving on with more news ahead, the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources has called on partners in the agricultural sector to continue working together to promote agriculture focused on increasing productivity, improving farmers' incomes, and creating jobs. The call was made during a planning meeting for the 2027A and 2027B agricultural seasons organized by One Acre Fund. We do have the details. At the meeting, which brought together government institutions, development partners, private sector stakeholders, and representatives of farmers, participants emphasized the need to continue supporting farmers so they can practice professional, profitable agriculture. Farmers working with One Acre Fund said that the support they receive has helped them increase production and improve their livelihoods.
Previously, we were unable to find markets for our produce, but now we can at least access reliable markets. In addition, they train us and visit us in our fields, helping us gain advanced knowledge about the crops we grow. As a result, our harvests have increased both in quality and quantity.
Before we used to grow avocados, but had no market for them. Now, through Tubura, we have found a market. Since they came, we have expanded our farming activities and planted more. Before finding a market, the avocados would go to waste, and the avocado trees seem to have little value. But after working with Tubura, we realized that they are valuable, both as a source of income and for improving our livelihoods. The country director of One Acre Fund Rwanda, Belinda Bwiza, said that one of the organization's main priorities is supporting young people and women engaged in agriculture.
We had very good testimonies from farmers today as well, showing us the need, showing us what the structural barriers are for youth and women to enter agriculture. And those are the discussions we've had. We know there are structural barriers on access to land, access to finance, and there's been a lot of commitment to see that we can avail these we can mitigate these barriers so that farmers can join. One Acre Fund is committed. We've committed to serving at least 400,000 youth this year and growing that to 1 million by 2030 by addressing these structural barriers.
The Minister of Agriculture and Animal Resources, Dr. Telesphore Ndabamenye, highlighted that development partners play an important role in helping farmers gain knowledge and access other forms of support that enable them to increase productivity.
Today, we are exchanging ideas and discussing their achievements. During the previous season, they accomplished many positive things. They presented the quantity of seeds they distributed and outlined initiatives to address climate change through tree planting programs. They also described efforts to provide communities with agroforestry trees, including fruit trees. They shared how they are preparing for the coming season. We also discussed market access because as we increase production, we must ensure that our farmers can sell what they produce. Farmers are preparing to bring their products to market. This meeting also included national-level produce buyers, banks, and institutions responsible for helping farmers access financing to purchase fertilizers, improved seeds, and other agricultural inputs needed to support these efforts.
In 2025, One Acre Fund Rwanda supported more than 1 million farmers by providing agricultural inputs, training, and other services aimed at increasing agricultural productivity. The organization also reports that it connected more than 15,000 farmers to reliable markets and exported 378 tons of produce, including avocados, chili peppers, coffee, and other crops to international markets outside Rwanda. Finance PLC has entered Rwanda's lending market, promising faster and more affordable financing for traders and small and medium-sized enterprises. The institution, launched this Friday, says it will provide loans for up to 300 million Rwandan francs to support business growth. William Evans Mutabazi reports.
For many traders and entrepreneurs, access to timely and affordable capital remains one of the biggest obstacles to expanding their businesses. To help bridge the gap, Chic Finance PLC has officially launched its operations in Kigali, positioning itself as a lender focused on supporting traders and small and medium-sized enterprises. One of the major things we are here to solve is about the prolonged process of acquiring loans. We decided that we should be giving a response in not more than 24 hours, whether it is positive or negative. We also have a loan we call Chic Loan, particularly for Chic tenants. These will get loans in 12 hours. We have so far dispatched about 1 billion in loans in just 3 months, but we plan to dispatch more than 8 billion Rwandan francs by the end of this year. Some entrepreneurs already working with this institution say that its financing services have enabled them access credit more easily and expand their business activities.
I got a business loan that supported me in boosting my business. I have since then expanded my business Chic. Financial services are easy and quick in that I got my loan in about 2 weeks only.
The chairperson of the Rwanda Private Sector Federation has called on Chic Finance to maintain a strong focus on supporting small and medium-sized enterprises, noting that the sector remains a key driver of employment and economic growth.
Some of the businesses are struggling because of source of finance. When people are creating this kind of enterprises in the small in financing, it's a good idea. It's an answer to their questions. So we are requesting them to focus more on small and medium enterprises. And we are hoping so that they will absolutely do that, considering what we agreed and considering also that though I'm a chairperson of the private sector, I'm also a member of Chic Finance.
Chic Finance says it aims to play a significant role in improving access to capital for businesses while contributing to Rwanda's broader agenda of strengthening private sector development. It is indeed true that after the construction of Chic building, we then embarked on a project to support our clients who are also our tenants of this building. We have about 560 clients who signed agreements with us, and we considered that they are a good number to become our flagship customers. Chic Finance project came to provide financial solutions to these traders. The launch of Chic Finance PLC adds to the growing number of financial institutions seeking to address the financing gap facing small and medium-sized enterprises in Rwanda, a segment widely regarded as the backbone of the country's economy. William Evans, RwandaTV News.
And now this brings us to the end of today's English News Bulletin. On behalf of the whole technical team, thank you so much for watching. Have a good night and enjoy the weekend. My name is Enora Gladys. Stay safe.